I had been with Wen Y for 10 years. From school uniforms to wedding dresses. From renting a place to the company going public. I thought we were a match made in heaven. Until I picked up his phone to find mine and saw that he had arranged a 9-valent vaccine appointment for an intern. The two of them had been chatting non-stop. And even the first concern after the car accident wasn't sent to me. It turned out that the late-night trips he took in the rain weren't for business. And the ginger flowers he gave me were just a cover-up. All those tender, considerate gestures were actually filled with hidden flirtation behind my back. 10 years of deep love wasted. Since he dared to betray me, I dared to ruin him, this marriage. I'm definitely divorcing. He owes me, and he will pay back double. Unable to find my phone. I picked up Wen Y's phone to dial and look for mine. As soon as the phone rang, I was about to put it back. When suddenly his WeChat popped up with 2 messages. Open black lens bracket Mr. Wen. Thank you for arranging the 9-valent vaccine for me. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. I heard you never helped your wife with an appointment. I feel so honored. I froze, stopping in my tracks. Wen Y had saved her contact as Ji Jiaoyu. Full name and all. While I was examining the contact name, another message popped up. A cute bear emoji with a heart. I opened the chat date, and to my surprise, there hadn't been a single day without a message exchange. I scrolled back to the very first day of their conversation. Ji Jiaoyu had been a new intern at the company, and she had started by asking Wen Y work-related questions. Her messages were long, and Wen Y only replied with, open black lens bracket. Your direct supervisor isn't me. Close black lens bracket. Ji Jiaoyu didn't seem to notice his indifference and would occasionally send more messages. She always finished just before Wen Y would get impatient. I vaguely remembered Wen Y complaining to me, are all these interns this stupid? Their workability is terrible. I laughed and tried to comfort him. When he mentioned Ji Jiaoyu, his brows were tightly furrowed, and he looked so impatient. The turning point happened 4 months ago, and I don't know what happened that day. All I saw was Wen Y responding to her directly for the first time. Ji Jiaoyu had sent him a message. Open black lens bracket. Thanks for your guidance, Mr. Wen. Today, our female leader even praised how much I've improved. Open black lens bracket. She's so hard to deal with. Super strict. This is the first time she's ever praised me. Close black lens bracket. Wen Y replied. Open black lens bracket. You don't need to thank me. It's your own hard work. Open black lens bracket. Keep it up. Close black lens bracket. I opened my own phone and searched for the chat from that date. Wen Y replied to both her and me within the same minute. I felt a buzzing in my head. One night, Ji Jiaoyu texted Wen Y asking for help because she had been taken to a bar by a colleague and was feeling dizzy. Open black lens bracket. Someone touched me. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. I don't know anyone else. Can you come pick me up? Open black lens bracket. I'm so scared. That night, after looking at his phone, Wen Y's face changed drastically. He hurriedly stood up, grabbed his coat, and threw it over himself. His eyes were filled with pity and guilt as he looked at me. Baby, the intern from the company seems to be in trouble. I need to go check on her. I can't stay with you. I sat up in bed, my head still heavy, the fever not quite gone. I told him to be careful. He came over, hugged me, then quickly let go and told me to rest early. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I just worried about him and stayed awake, waiting for him to come back. When Wen Y returned, he smelled strongly of alcohol. I wasn't fully aware at that time, but I still remembered that I didn't want him drinking. Wen Y wasn't good with alcohol. In the early days of the business, he drank to accompany clients, pushing himself to down shots. Afterward, he'd run to the bathroom to vomit, then come back out and continue the conversation. I couldn't bear to see him like that and would never let him drink again. Did you drink? He lowered his voice and tried to comfort me, repeatedly assuring me that he hadn't drunk, that it was just a little spill. Only then did I relax and fall into a deep sleep. In my half-dazed state, I saw a flicker of pain in his eyes. He had gone to the bar to pick up the intern. Such an ambiguous time and place. Such strong alcohol scent. I chose to believe him. But there were still those 2 lines in the chat. Open black lens bracket. Thanks for blocking the alcohol for me, Mr. Wen. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. If it weren't for considering me, you could have easily ignored them. So that night, Wen Y wasn't worried about me. He was feeling guilty. I had been with Wen Y for 10 years. He had always been gentle and considerate, never lacking in care or attention toward me. Sometimes, He would even be flustered by my teasing. He would rush over and cover my mouth, his ears turning bright red, awkwardly saying, "You can't say that." I'd take his hand away and kiss his fingertips. His reaction was as shy as when we first started dating. But he would also share his life with Ji Jiaoyu, accompany her to the night market, help her move, and even revise her plans himself. The small potted plant she gave him was still in his study. Wen Wei had brought back a succulent, and I sensed something was wrong. He explained to me, "I saw someone selling ginger flowers on the side of the road and remembered you liked them. So I bought a bunch for you." She gave me a succulent. A big bouquet of pure white, fragrant ginger flowers was handed to me, and I eagerly accepted it. In the city, few people sold these flowers. As I placed the flowers in the vase, he pulled out his phone and replied to Ji Jiaoyu's message. "Open black lens bracket, get some rest." When I asked him, "Does this look good?" he looked up just in time, smiling gently at me. "It looks good, but not as good as you." I stood on tiptoe and kissed him. Wen Wei's eyes softened, full of joy. So, was he happy because of my closeness or because he had just replied to Ji Jiaoyu's message? There was still a pile of my scattered belongings in his study, my dolls, my water bottle, and snacks I had left on his desk. The professional books I couldn't find in my own study might be on his shelf. And I didn't know if, when he looked up from work, he thought of me or the girl who gave him the succulent. I clenched my hand and continued scrolling. 2 days ago, Ji Jiaoyu complained to him. "Open black lens bracket, the 9-valent vaccine is so hard to book. I've tried several times but failed." Open black lens bracket, "Don't worry, I'll ask around for you." Close black lens bracket. Ji Jiaoyu sent a cat emoji with bright eyes. Open black lens bracket, "Really? Mr. Wen, you're so nice. If it weren't for the fact that you're married, I would have fallen for you." Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, "I'd be willing to work for you for the rest of my life." Wen Wei replied. Open black lens bracket, "What do you mean, the rest of your life?" Ji Jiaoyu. Open black lens bracket, "I mean I'll work for you forever." The words were full of vibrant energy. A bit ambiguous, but it seemed to stop right there. What a pity. I know Wen Wei too well. Such a conversation was definitely not innocent. Before he came back that night, Wen Wei had sent her the appointment form, reminding her to go. While he was sending that message, I was on the phone with him, asking him to buy some tea cakes for me. He laughed lightly on the other end. "Okay, your husband knows." While saying this, he replied to Ji Jiaoyu's message. Wen Wei went to take a shower, and I brewed some tea and snacks. The sound of water from the bathroom grew quieter, and the faint noise of the water boiling became clearer. I remembered the day when we were 17, changing clothes for graduation photos. I took a picture with my best friend, and Wen Wei stared at me for a long time, carefully moving into the frame. Then he turned his face and mimicked me, making a peace sign. Even with just a shoulder's distance between us, I could feel the fiery love of a young boy. I couldn't hear the bustling noise around me, couldn't hear the wind or footsteps, only the sound of my heart beating loudly. After the college entrance exam, Wen Wei asked me to meet him. We walked side by side for a while. He asked me very seriously, "Will you be my girlfriend?" He stuttered over the words 3 times. I looked at him, his face red, his eyes full of hope and nervousness. The summer breeze carried a hint of the lingering warmth of the day, and I felt my chest grow warm. I said, "Okay, actually, I like you too." His eyes instantly lit up. I still remember the sparkle and joy in his eyes. When he liked me, I was secretly in love with him. But 10 years of hard work was so difficult. I couldn't afford to make a single mistake. After the results came out, we both did well and went to the same city. It only took half an hour by taxi to travel between the 2 schools. We had loved each other for 10 years. He never gave me the cold shoulder, never said a harsh word. Wen Wei always said, You are the best little girl in the world. I'm so lucky to have you. That you can love me. I really feel so fortunate." So why? Nothing has changed. Nothing has happened. The sound of water stopped. I sat silently on the couch, feeling countless emotions tearing at me, with the urge to cry, but I didn't have the strength to do so. Wen Wei pulled a towel over his head and, when he saw me, his eyes and smile were full of warmth. "Baby, are you waiting for me?" He casually wiped his head a couple of times, set the towel aside, and bent down to pick me up. I shifted aside, avoiding his hand. He looked a little surprised. "What's wrong?" I held back my tears, feeling a storm brewing inside me. my body drenched, my hands and feet cold. I looked up at him, called his name seriously. Just like when I was 17. The first time I called him my boyfriend. Why? Are you hiding something from me? I couldn't help but choke up. Why was clearly startled, hurriedly saying, I have nothing to hide from you, don't be upset. While saying that, he grabbed some tissue to wipe my tears. I realized then that the tears had already fallen. I turned my face away, avoiding his hand, and held up the phone screen for him to see. What about this? Why glanced at it, his expression helpless. The intern who joined the company recently. I've told you about her. You can look through my phone. I won't hide anything from you. Why's phone password is still my birthday. I can unlock it anytime. You arranged her 9-valent vaccine appointment. Have you ever helped me with mine? Why reached out and rubbed my head, sitting next to me. His hair was still wet, the ends dripping with water. He leaned back slightly to avoid letting the water drip on me. If you want to make an appointment. It's just a phone call away. I helped her because she's young. And it's hard for her. I thought of you from back then. Seeing that my expression softened a little, he quickly grabbed my hand, determined, if you don't like her, I'll make her leave tomorrow. My gaze fell on our intertwined hands. My face emotionless as I barely curled my lips. Okay, make her leave. Why froze for a moment. Then quickly regained his composure, smiling at me. Okay, I'll have someone notify her tomorrow. Compensation will follow the rules. I lowered my head and started typing. Open black lens bracket, no need to thank me. I can make the appointment myself. Open black lens bracket, I don't need him. Close black lens bracket. I quickly added Ji Jiaoyu to my blacklist. Then handed the phone to Why. I've replied to the messages for you. Please make me some tea. I'm going to take a shower. As I was about to turn the corner toward the bathroom, I glanced back at Why. He was staring at his phone. His brows furrowed, showing signs of anxiety. I rushed into the bathroom, turning the water on loudly. The steam rose quickly, soon blurring the reflection in the mirror. There was a storm inside me. But I didn't sob. No one knew. After Ji Jiaoyu left the company, Why treated me even better than before. He carefully took care of my emotions, letting me browse his phone whenever I had the chance. I told him that my relationship with Ji Jiaoyu was nothing more than senior to junior. Nothing else. He was so sure of it. Maybe he was afraid I would mind. So Why explained again, she has a lot of ambition. And she's a lot like you were when you were young. I just thought, if I had the ability back then, I could have helped you more. I shoved some food into my mouth, saying it half mumbled. Why? There are many people like you in this world. But I won't treat them like you. My voice was soft, and Why only heard me say his name. He asked me what I said. I replied, you make really good food. Why smiled. What matters is that you like it. When we first graduated, neither Why nor I could cook. To save money, we could only eat cheap meals, with heavy oil and salt. Why said that wasn't healthy. And after a tiring day, I would collapse into bed. While he quietly experimented with cooking in the kitchen, he made everything just to my taste. The dishes I liked were his specialties. During the early days of the business, we did everything ourselves. Busy from morning to night. One night, while eating, I told him he was working too hard. Why cupped my face and cried, apologizing for not giving me a better life. Thinking back on this, I smiled at him. At that time, I didn't feel the hardship at all. On Tuesday, I was at home reviewing company documents when I suddenly got a call from the hospital. Mr. Wen, accident? My mind went blank. After hanging up with the hospital, I rushed outside. The images of people being hit by cars flashing in my mind. It wasn't until I got into the car that I could think straight. I could drive. On the way, I kept praying that Why would be okay. Every second felt stretched out by endless amounts. The distance from home to the hospital felt unbearably long. When I finally arrived at the hospital, I saw Why lying on the bed, his lips pale. My heart felt like it was hit hard. He struggled to keep his eyes open and forced a smile. Don't worry, I'm fine. I walked over, and he immediately grabbed my hand to comfort me. It's okay. I'll rest for a couple of days and be fine. I couldn't bear to see him like that and excused myself to get him some water. As I turned, he was staring at his phone, looking like he had encountered a problem. What work is more important than your health? You is right. Why turned off his phone and handed it to me. He had faint dark circles under his eyes, looking extremely tired. I stopped talking, and he quickly fell asleep. Sitting beside him, I opened his phone. Wen Y's contact list had a new person with a little cat emoji. The emojis and tone used in the chat made it obvious to me that it was Ji Jiaoyu. When I turned around, he had replied to Ji Jiaoyu, who had been asking about his safety. He said, "I'm fine, don't worry." So, while I was crying for him, while I was praying to the heavens to take half of his pain, while I decided that I would stay by his side no matter what, the first thing he thought about wasn't me, or even himself, but replying to Ji Jiaoyu's message. Scrolling up a bit, I saw Ji Jiaoyu's message. "Mr. Wen, are you okay? I shouldn't have let you come pick me up. Your wife doesn't like me. It's not your fault. You don't need to feel guilty." I took my gaze off the screen and looked at the face of the person lying in bed. Was he in such a hurry to see Ji Jiaoyu? As I took screenshots of the chat, my hand trembled 3 times. He had stuttered 3 times when confessing to me back then. Just like this ending, I gave him back everything he originally gave me. But why does it still hurt so much? After putting the phone back in place, I opened a conversation with the lawyer who specializes in divorce cases. Wen Y wasn't seriously injured. The doctor said a few days of rest would help. There was a lot of work at the company, so I suggested going back to take a look. Except for some major decisions, I generally didn't interfere with the company's operations, and I needed to get back to work. Wen Y smiled at me. He looked relieved. "Good thing I have you." On my first day back at the company, I overheard some gossip in the break room. A new girl was huddling beside me, trying to find some common ground as she said, "You wouldn't know, but there was a sister in our team who was really close to Mr. Wen. Her name was Ji Chaoyu. When she was here, we all got a bit of a free pass. The tough tasks? We didn't have to do them." I tightened my grip on my coffee cup, but kept smiling. "Who did the work then?" The girl lowered her voice and whispered, with a hint of mystery, "Other teams, I guess. Don't tell anyone though." I heard Mr. Wen's mom didn't like her, so she pushed to have her fired. Mr. Wen even helped her get a new job. I took a sip of coffee, my tone calm. "Is that so?" "But I heard Mr. Wen got married." The girl looked around, then said, "It was a business marriage with no feelings involved. You wouldn't understand, though. This kind of secret affection is so addictive, like, they want to touch each other, but can't. But you can just feel the romantic tension when you see them. I can't even ship my own couple anymore. It's all that woman's fault. She's so vicious." I gave her a small smile. "You're shipping them? You've got quite the appetite." "Don't blame me. I just didn't expect them to be this shameless. Also, here's a friendly tip. If you don't work on improving your skills, you'll be the one getting laid off eventually." Without waiting for her response, I walked out. I didn't take the elevator when I went upstairs. I climbed the stairs. I hadn't exercised in so long. The farther I went, the harder it got. Each step felt like a struggle. I thought Mr. Wen knew, but I only thought so. While Mr. Wen was recovering, I threw myself into the company, making every second count. When I went to the hospital to visit him, I felt a dull ache in my heart. But more than that, I felt numb. This man lying in bed. I had once promised his entire future in front of Buddha. I told my mom, "He's the one." I told my best friend, Luo Qin, I wouldn't get married unless I met someone I truly loved. On my wedding day, Luo Qin hugged me and cried, telling me, "You'll be happy." I know it. I really thought I would be. So why? Mr. Wen. The tough days are over. Ahead, there's a bright, glorious road. Never mind. Maybe I didn't understand him enough. Half a month later, I got a report from a private investigator. Mr. Wen had met with Ji Chaoyu. I drove over and took a seat behind them. Because there was a partition, they didn't notice me. I heard Ji Chaoyu's cheerful voice, like a little bird. "Thank you, Mr. Wen. I just landed a big deal, but there was a problem during the process. Here, take a look at this." She handed something over. Mr. Wen's voice followed. "No need to thank me. My wife is a bit stingy. Sorry you had to suffer because of this." I lowered my eyes, feeling bitterly ironic. "Still mentioning me?" Ji Chaoyu laughed loudly. "Haha, it's because you're so amazing. That's why your wife is so protective. If I were her, I'd be nervous too, especially when it's someone like me, young and pretty." She really was young, and saying such playful things made her seem cute. Mr. Wen smiled too, as if he was giving tacit approval. "If you can land this deal, that means your abilities are recognized. You mentioned a problem, but maybe it's because..." I lowered the volume on my phone and dialed Mr. Wen's number. Your phone's ringing, Ji Chaoyu reminded him softly, and Mr. Wen chuckled lightly. It's fine. The phone rang 11 times without anyone answering. I dialed again, but this time there were no rings. He had put his phone on silent. Can this be considered evidence? The person across from me shook his head. You need substantial evidence. This doesn't count. Mr. Wen was still patiently explaining to Ji Chaoyu. Occasionally, I heard a few bursts of laughter. No inappropriate actions. But everything about this situation was inappropriate. Maybe it was my expression that gave it away. But the private investigator sitting across from me asked, should I go remind them? I looked at him and smiled politely. No, I can't wait any longer. I stood up and walked over, just in time to meet Mr. Wen's eyes. The smile on his face disappeared immediately. His face panicked. I smiled at him, glanced at Ji Chaoyu. She really was young and pretty, with so much energy. Good taste. Mr. Wen, let's get a divorce. Mr. Wen quickly tried to explain, as if it were second nature. There's nothing going on between me and Ji Chaoyu. We always meet in public places. You, trust me, you can check the security footage. He seemed so scared I might misunderstand. Explaining over and over again like he was desperate to prove his innocence. But if he was afraid I would misunderstand, why did he do things that could cause that? Besides, it wasn't innocent. If there's nothing going on, why hide meetings from me? Only he knows if he's ever wavered. I closed my eyes. Mr. Wen, ask yourself. Have you never been tempted? Have you never indulged in flirting with Ji Chaoyu? Have you never secretly compared me to her? Are you completely innocent? Love is a selfish thing. There's no room for a third person in it. Ji Chaoyu tilted her head back, her lashes fluttering. Sis, stop making a scene. Mr. Wen loves you so much. He's supported you through all these years. Why are you still being paranoid? If you love him, you should trust him. One word from you. Mr. Wen fired me. You don't know. I've worked so hard to get here. She looked like she had gathered all her courage just to argue with me. Mr. Wen nodded in full agreement. You've suffered. You should understand how hard Ji Chaoyu's life has been. I just felt dizzy. In the rented apartment, Mr. Wen held my face, crying and apologizing to me. Now, he's successful. But he tells me I should understand other people's struggles. I don't want to understand. When I was struggling, I never expected anyone to understand me. Except for Mr. Wen. We've been through so much hardship to get to where we are today. My body moved faster than my thoughts. I grabbed a drink off the table and poured it over Mr. Wen's head. Ji Chaoyu screamed, hurriedly grabbing paper towels and trying to wipe his face. Mr. Wen pushed her hand away and wiped his face. His face was a little embarrassed, but he still held back his anger. Stop it, he said. You're almost 30. You're not young anymore. Stop acting like a teenager throwing a tantrum, okay? I graduated high school at 17, and was already dating Mr. Wen. He used to say I was cute even when I threw tantrums or acted childish. I haven't acted childish in years. Because I felt he was struggling. And I didn't want him to frown because of me. Now, it's all a joke. I grabbed my bag and swung it at his face. But Ji Chaoyu jumped out to block for him. I didn't stop. I slammed the bag hard. Mr. Wen, you're truly disgusting. And you, Ji Chaoyu, I didn't want to lay a hand on you. But you came up to me. Her eyes immediately turned red, her face full of grievance. Sis, you're going too far. Right now, you're just like those crazy women out there who are always fighting against mistresses. Mr. Wen reached out to grab me, his voice softening. Don't make a scene. She's just a young girl. Don't bully her. I clenched the strap of my bag so hard my fingers turned white. Fine, I won't bully her. But Mr. Wen, you've betrayed me. Mr. Wen followed me all the way. I rolled the car window halfway down, not looking at him. Let me calm down. After a moment of silence, he finally spoke. All right, be safe. The car sped off, and my phone suddenly buzzed with several messages. As soon as I got home, I sent the photos the private investigator had taken to Luo Chin. Miss Lin, I found some interesting things about Ji Chaoyu. Are you interested? I thought for a moment, then paid him extra money. Ji Chaoyu's life story was quite something. She really was the hard-working type. Her family was very poor, and they were obsessed with having a son even though they had 5 daughters. She started dating a boy with some money when she was young, and never lacked for food or clothes. In high school, her math grades were among the worst. But she started dating the math teacher's son. and got free tutoring that helped her pass into college. She worked part-time during college and dated the shop owner, causing trouble with his fiancée, until she finally graduated, broke up with him, and came here. And then, there was Mr. Wen. The reason Mr. Wen got close to her was simple. When he was drunk, he didn't dare face me, afraid I would worry. Ji Chaoyu realized this, and every time, she'd make him some hangover soup and teach him how to hide the smell of alcohol from me. I didn't know how to describe the complicated feelings seeing all this. Fate always plays its tricks. Luo Qin's message interrupted my thoughts. She cursed Mr. Wen with 100 variations, without swearing a single word. When she was in school, she used to write articles and avoid responsibility. Now, she does crisis management and her little essays are very touching. Not to mention this time, she had all the advantages. Yu, be strong. I stared at those words for a long time. All these years, I've been so cold-hearted. But Luo Qin still thinks I'm too soft and needs her to take care of me. The lawyer had drafted the divorce agreement. I took 80% of the marital property. Luo Qin scolded me for being too kind. If I were you, I would have transferred all the assets and set him up. I explained. Even though he's at fault, it's hard to define. Legally, it doesn't count as cheating. Even my parents don't think it's cheating. My parents called me back for dinner. Mr. Wen was sitting there, his phone on the table. My mom tried to persuade me. Everyone's seen the chat logs. There's no big issue. It's a small thing. Don't make a scene about divorce. It'll look bad. I glanced at Mr. Wen. He looked at me eagerly. I didn't say much, just vaguely. Let's talk about it later. I still needed more time to negotiate with the company's core team. After dinner, Mr. Wen followed me. He was still repeating the same excuses. I turned and looked at him. The sunlight was bright, and it felt warm. I spoke at the right moment. Mr. Wen, I'm going back next Tuesday. His eyes lit up immediately, and he smiled, nodding. Okay, I promise I won't meet with Ji Chaoyu again. If you don't like her, I'll keep her far away. I tilted my head and smiled silently. Arrange for her to work far away? Mr. Wen's face turned pale, and he softly called out to me. Yu, why would you think that? I waved my hand, not answering him. I'm going back next Tuesday. Don't forget to wait for me. It's going back, not going home. Luo Qin's little essay started to ferment that night. Mr. Wen, I feel sorry for you. You probably don't know, right? On the day the company went public, everyone cheered for your success, but she sat in the audience, tears in her eyes, and the look she gave you, I still remember. It broke my heart. She was thinking that the person she loved finally made it. How did you repay her? Emotional affair with an intern, flirting with the intern, deliberately not answering her calls, and saying to her face that she's no longer young. Shouldn't act like a spoiled brat. How sad. You'll never find another girl like Zhang Lei. When you married her, she was full of happiness. That happiness made me believe in her choice. Made me believe you would treat her well, and she, such a good person, would surely be happy. Do you remember the vows you made back then? The night you went to the bar to meet the intern. Did you worry about the high fever Zhang Lei had at home? When the intern clung to your neck, kissed you while drunk, you pushed her away once. But why didn't you push her away the second time? When you came home, she was still worried about you hurting your stomach from drinking. Did you feel guilty? She cried for you in the hospital, prayed for you. And you told the intern not to be scared when she turned away, saying you were fine. Did you ever think she was even more scared? You secretly arranged a new job for the intern, analyzed the situation for her, while she worked herself to the bone for you at the company. Did you even feel a little moved? It's really a pity. You don't deserve her anymore. You're the most disgusting person in the world. The best friend I cherish. This is how you treat her. She had a badge on her backpack in high school. It said, "You can borrow sanitary pads from me." That's how I met her. She was so kind, even to strangers. You didn't appreciate her, and now you'll pay for it. If not, I'll kneel before Buddha and ask why true love is always betrayed. Her essay was heartfelt enough. Plus Luo Qin's big account was already famous. And it involved Mr. Wen. The post exploded within 3 hours. It became a trending topic across the internet. My Weibo account was dug up. The fragments of my past posts were analyzed back and forth. Netizens called me a pure love warrior. Wen Wei got caught in the whirlwind. Even Ji Chaoyu's identity was exposed. Her past behavior of approaching any man who could benefit her, whether or not they had a partner, was also exposed. It was at this moment that I went back to see Wen Wai, carrying the divorce agreement I had prepared early on. The divorce agreement was spread out. Wen Wai didn't want to look at it, so I read each clause aloud to him. By the time I reached the 7th clause, he seemed unable to take it anymore. He reached out and covered the agreement. I was forced to stop speaking. I only wanted 80% as compensation for me. Isn't that fair? The company has my share. Without me, you wouldn't have made it this far. At least half the board of directors agrees with me. In 1.5 months, Wen Wai and Ji Chaoyu met 5 times. I gave them some benefit and secured the support of more than half the company's core team. Wen Wai interrupted me, his voice trembling. Yu, do you really have to do this? Don't you have any hesitation? He looked at me with red eyes, as if he urgently needed an explanation. I calmly looked at him. After he calmed down for a while, I spoke. Wen Wai, have you ever had feelings for her? You know better than I do. You're the one at fault, not me. You should ask yourself why, not me. Wen Wai trembled all over. He covered his face in despair, choking. He asked me, Yu, have you really tried your best? Don't you want to continue with me? I handed him the pen. Wen Wai, you should know me well. I can't tolerate a grain of sand in my eyes. And I won't have a disloyal lover. Still, thank you. At least you've been loyal to me all these years. Wen Wai picked up the pen. He put it down a few times, as if remembering something. He asked, did you instigate what's online? I didn't admit it. I only found out after seeing those things. You've been hiding so much from me. Wen Wai didn't speak. After a long while, his voice was very soft. Sorry. I stared at him, as he wrote, Wen Wai, with each stroke. Finally, I smiled with relief. If you truly feel sorry for me, give me more money. Love or money. I need one of them. Wen Wai's hand, which was holding the pen, trembled. Sorry. If I hadn't hidden it from you and met her, would things have been different? There was a desperate light in his eyes. When I was young, his gaze would shine so brightly. I believed in his sincerity, but true sincerity changes in an instant. No, I said it very firmly. From the moment I saw the chat logs, I never thought of continuing with you. I compare love to a long river. 2 people on the same frequency can cross it smoothly, but if one wavers, the boat will capsize. It's bound to capsize sooner or later. I'll do it myself. His eyes instantly dimmed. This house has been transferred to your name. I'll call a moving company to get my things later. Try to complete the property division within the next few months. Wen Wai looked up at me, incredulously. He asked, after all these years of our relationship, doesn't it deserve any hesitation from you? I sneered, looking down at him. Of course. But Wen Wai, when you enjoyed the ambiguity, didn't you think about our years together? Before leaving, I told him, this situation wasn't forced by me. You chose it yourself. Wen Wai, what a pity. You no longer deserve my love. I took 80% of the assets. Wen Wai was busy with endless matters. He had to face a major restructuring within the company. The core team was realigning. His influence was drastically reduced. I wasn't concerned with this. After all, his abilities were still there. I'd get a lot from the company's profits. Wen Wai wasn't the type to accept his fate. But this time, a comeback seemed nearly impossible. After all, he wasn't young anymore. He didn't have the same energy and reckless drive. The situation with this made a huge stir. Some people even sympathized with me. When Luo Qin's little essay came out, my family prohibited Wen Wai from coming over. He was restricted everywhere. Not to mention, sometimes, he would drop everything, just to wait for me. I hadn't spoken to him much. I tried to avoid him as much as possible. When I couldn't avoid him, I ended the conversation in 3 sentences. Some people say that the bond between people is like a heavy rain. I loved Wen Wai for 10 years. He was soaked through, and I wasn't spared. This dampness would permeate many years of my life. There would be times I'd miss this relationship, and feel sad. But wrong is wrong. There's no room for any turning back. Luo Qin was afraid I might be upset, so she took time off to stay with me. I told her, it's okay. I'm strong. She looked into my eyes and said, but I feel like you're a little sad. I hesitated for a moment, and confessed, a little, but I'm not a saint. I can't just cut off feelings immediately. After all, it was 10 years. When I walk down the street, I see memories of Wen Wai everywhere. Luo Qin grabbed my hand, her tone angry. It's all Wen Wai's fault. I hate him. Her tone was so childish that I couldn't help but laugh. When we returned to the company, Ji Chaoyu blocked my way. Her first words were, how can you be so vicious? Do you know how hard it was for me to get here? I smiled gently. Thank you for the compliment. You really have had a tough time. But now that you've made it this far, isn't it time to stop relying on men? Ji Chaoyu bit her lip, clearly unhappy. That's because you have everything. Of course. You don't understand what it feels like to ruin your whole life with one mistake. I go after what I want. I don't destroy other people's relationships. I can't comment on climbing up through men. I'm definitely not Ji Chaoyu, but I know how hard it was for her to escape her poor, patriarchal family. But people must have limits. If you don't, desires will swallow you up, and one moment of weakness can lead to your downfall. Luo Qin gave me a look to stop talking. She stepped forward, full of authority. The mouse has skin, but a person without dignity. I advise you to leave here soon. The news travels slower in small towns, but if you wait longer, your family will know about your little deeds. Ji Chaoyu suddenly raised her head. I knew it. You too. She swallowed her words, and asked, if I leave, will you stop spreading it? Luo Qin shook her head. I can't promise that, but I can tell you, as long as you stop bothering Yu, I won't go after you again. Ji Chaoyu thought for a moment, then nodded slowly. She looked at me, envious. You really are lucky, having such a good friend. Luo Qin suddenly smiled. You had one too. Your high school best friend had a crush on the math teacher's son. She secretly found out his preferences and prepared gifts for him. She wrote him letters to comfort him when he was down. She was too shy to give it to him, so she asked you to pass it on. And you, instead of passing it, went ahead and started dating him. In college, your roommate felt sorry for you and introduced you to a job. But then, you hooked up with her brother-in-law, and your roommate became depressed and dropped out because of guilt. Luo Qin kept talking, and Ji Chaoyu's face grew darker. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore. She ran away in a panic. Luo Qin sighed as she watched her go. People never think about the consequences when they do things, only regret when things go wrong. She grabbed my hand, her face full of disappointment. Yu, you're just too kind. Why do you say that? She's been bullying you, and you're still so calm. She waved her fists in frustration. Because I prefer a thorough counterattack. Luo Qin didn't believe me, but she continued, next time you meet someone like Ji Chaoyu, you should just fight back. I smiled at her. Fighting back is one thing, but the reason your essay spread so widely is because I had a marketing company push it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have reached such a large audience, especially among the middle-aged and older generation. My image of a woman who suffers but doesn't complain, that's what they love. Otherwise, how would I have gotten my parents to support me? How would I have made Wen Y's parents put pressure on him? How would I have made Wen Y feel guilty? I was the one pushing all of this. Now you can rest easy. I'm not that weak. Luo Qin nodded. Now we're getting somewhere. But Wen Y is disgusting. Even though now he's working for you, I still can't stand him. When I think about how he had that car accident, and you cried for him, but he was texting Ji Chaoyu, it makes me sick. I lowered my eyes. From the moment I saw the chat logs, I never thought about having a future with Wen Y. It was all about making him feel more guilty, and maximizing my benefits. At this point, I leaned toward Luo Qin, and whispered softly, don't feel bad. I had someone hit him with a car.